Welcome back to the myCast podcast, the podcast that is your all-access pass to the best casting conversations around with your myCast podcast castings. Nico and Yannick. Today, we are back for round 2, hopefully more to come, but we are going to start off with a fantastic, potentially fantastic live action that is coming out, Tangled.
Yes, but then we want to segue into a more interesting discussion of which way the movie industry is trending. Now, I will say, Tangled live-action remake is an interesting topic because live-action remakes seem to be the favorite method of making movies these days, at least from Disney's perspective. To be fair, we have seen other movie studios, production companies do this as well. DreamWorks did the How to Train Your Dragon remake, famously, which was received quite well, to my understanding.
Yep, that was received well.
But Disney has not necessarily had the same reception to their live-action remakes, if you look at Snow White, for example, or The Little Mermaid. So Tangled is kind of like, what is going to happen? Are they going to manage to pull off a How to Train Your Dragon remake, or is it going to be another, so far, like a continuation of Disney's trend of questionable remakes in terms of their enjoyment? So, live action Tangled.
The first rumor that I heard of for this movie, and casting-wise, was Scarlett Johansson playing the very manipulative, correct me if I'm wrong, Mother Gothel?
Yes, Mother Gothel. Now, Scarlett Johansson is quite a good actress. I believe that she could play off that role quite well.
I think so too.
Another rumor I heard, which I saw on myCast, by the way, if you're not already on myCast, join the action, where you can learn basically anything you want to know about the movie industry. I saw on there, now this is a post coming from a, I don't know if they want their name dropped. They posted a casting recommendation of Rapunzel being played by Emma Myers, who we noted, or at least she sprang onto our radar following the Minecraft movie.
Yeah.
That is when I first noticed Emma Myers, and she does actually, in this picture specifically that you can see on myCast, she actually looks almost exactly like Rapunzel after the hair is chopped off. Like, it's the same color, it's the same length. She could actually, like, by appearances, play the role quite well. And in the Minecraft movie, she was also great. So I could imagine her playing that role quite well. Another interesting potential casting would be Sarah Jessica Parker. I don't know how much of a bell that rings to a lot of people. She's known for the show Sex and the City, which is not necessarily what I watch a lot of the time, but I am aware by women that this is a more common show for them. I don't really watch it.
I have also seen one other rumor for Rapunzel, which was probably because she is blonde and popular, Sabrina Carpenter.
I have seen that as well.
I saw that. I thought that was very funny. Now, could I see it happening? Maybe. I mean, I would never count it out that Disney would do that, especially if they are going for more of a money route than actually making a good live action. But I would personally prefer a experienced actor as opposed to a singer.
Yeah. Appearance-wise, I think Sabrina Carpenter. That Sabrina Carpenter could play the role quite well. However, I'm not aware of any acting experience she has, so I don't necessarily see that working out quite so well.
If you have any other castings for characters, especially ones that we missed out because there's a bunch, like especially Flynn Rider, drop it in the comments, or better yet, head to myCast, drop in your best castings, explain why those should be the castings for the live action. Get involved.
Get involved. We're looking at you. Yeah. Now, having more or less exhausted that topic, I want to get into something that's maybe a little bit more interesting. Does Disney make anything original? Not that I can think of.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I've got nothing.
I got nothing.
They definitely seem to be on a spree of remaking remakes that have already been remade for a dozen times at least.
And it seems like almost everybody is doing that. Now, as far as animation goes, it seems like we're getting a lot of remakes of animated in the form of live actions. It seems like a very easy trend that I personally do not care for. I much prefer having the movies as they were, because the movies that are being remade for a reason, in that they were popular. If the movies were popular already, there's no need to go back and remake them, in my opinion. Live actions, the idea is cool, but if it's not executed right, I feel like it kind of just ruins the reputation a little bit of the original.
Yeah, and it also kind of says a bit about the industry as a whole, in which that there appears to be a relative lack of creativity, which is definitely, as most movie enthusiasts, I imagine, is kind of frustrating. Because I remember, like, younger me, teenage years, loving going to the movies. We, with a couple of friends, would always go to the movies as soon as the newest Marvel movie came out, or if there was a Transformers, or even if it was something completely different that wasn't originally on our radar. Okay, great. We spend a Friday night at the movies watching whatever it is that's come out recently. But in recent years, it certainly felt that the movie industry is in a great transition period of, well, we don't know where to exactly, but it seems like they're playing it safe as of right now, and for that reason it appears that they're doing a lot of remakes and a lot of sequels, because those are safe bets of making a profitable movie versus risking, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of production to then have a movie flop.
Yep.
It's a risky game. It is a very risky game, and I can understand why big production companies want to play it safe, because with streaming services, it's obviously less attractive to go to movie theaters. I think movie theaters have struggled a lot in recent years, partially because of that.
I think also with the movie remakes and even reboots of old TV series, the subscription just makes way more sense. If you get, like, let's say they reboot your favorite TV show on Netflix, why would you go to the movie theater if you're just going to spend the monthly... If you go to the movie theater once a month, you could just trade that out for Netflix and watch as many movies as you want in a month and get way more value out of it. I mean, it is just kind of a different age compared to what we grew up with.
Yeah. It sounds very old to say, but it definitely, like, the money factor is an important one to consider in this, because, yeah, a Netflix subscription is what? $15-20? It's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things. At least in terms of compared to two people going to a movie theater these days, depending on where you are. But for us locally, it's not unreasonable for two people to spend $30 to go to a movie.
Yeah, and especially if it's a new movie.
Especially if it's a new movie, and opening night, you can forget it. It's going to be even more expensive. And when you then look at, okay, Netflix subscription for a month, you can watch many, many movies in that time frame in the comfort of your home and not even worry about having to drive to a movie theater, which would potentially not serve very good popcorn at ridiculous prices.
That's definitely my other complaint. Movie theaters, you gotta let us bring our own food, man. I know they make most of their money with that probably. Like, there's no way they make profit off of just ticket sales. But my goodness, it's so much easier to buy a movie, like, or a subscription, sit on your couch and buy your own, like, snacks.
Yeah.
I never buy anything at the movie theater because of how expensive it is.
Yeah, it's definitely, I feel like, at least recently, because movies previously, like the movie theater was the only place you could really watch them, aside from like buying the DVDs or Blu-ray. The only real exception to that was going to the movie theater, and so the only option was then, okay, we're going to be here, it's going to be a big event, great time, let's go ahead and spend some extra money for popcorn. But when you have the alternative of streaming services, then of course that's less enticing because you already don't want to go to the movie theater to begin with, and then you're just going to watch all of the movies for relatively cheap at home. The other thing which ties into streaming services are the technological differences. Now, I've been learning a lot in my mass media class, my mass communications class.
I'm afraid my classes don't translate as well.
No, I suspect that your mathematics courses are not quite as applicable to the movie industry. However, I've been learning a lot about mass communications, and one of the big things is that technological changes really influence a lot of creative decisions, which is kind of tragic. In some ways it's beneficial because it has allowed us to host basically a radio talk show for a fraction of the cost.
Yep.
We set up some lights, phones, camera, microphones, and that's it. You're in for under $2,000 versus a full-on radio studio is going to be 5 times, 10 times as much, say. So, the change from DVD to streaming services is probably the biggest differentiating factor between the kind of movies we saw in the early 2000s and 1990s versus today. We've alluded to this quite a lot with streaming services, but the cost of watching a movie these days is incredibly low on streaming services. It is actually unbelievable. Versus, you know, in the 1990s, you would see movies like Good Will Hunting, which we talked about in the last episode, and other movies around that time that were phenomenal storytelling. Rain Man, or, well, actually, Peanut Butter Falcon was a relatively new movie. That was 2014. So, a little bit of nuance to that. So there is some creativity that can burst through from time to time. However, it is increasingly rare. And that was really only possible back in the day because DVDs were the kind of second wave moneymaker, in the same way the movie industry, the music industry did it. In the 70s, 80s, up until 90s, early 2000s, a lot of money was made off of selling CDs of the music or vinyls of the music versus the actual performance, the stage performances, the tours, which that has actually recently flip-flopped for the music industry, which is kind of interesting. They actually make a lot more on the shows than streaming.
That makes sense considering they inflate the prices so much.
That is true. I mean, you can look at Taylor Swift. This was an interesting discussion in our class just the other day. Taylor Swift's Eras Tour grossed somewhere near $2 billion, I believe. $2 billion.
That's insane.
For one singer.
That's insane.
Insane. Gotta respect the woman for being able to pull in $2 billion.
And it does help.
On a single tour.
It does help that she made that much, because otherwise, how else would she be able to, you know, fly 12 minutes instead of drive? You know?
Yeah.
It does make sense.
If it were not for the Eras Tour, she would not be able, we would not have the memes available of her flying her business jet into the grocery store to get groceries.
Swifties, for that, I thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Round of applause for the Swifties.
Round of applause for the Swifties.
You have given us
thank you so much
material.
For quality memes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, the movie industry is an interesting time. It's very much evolving. I'm curious to see how internet creators might bring a sort of revival to the movie industry. Because a lot of media is now created on the internet. You start to see really amazing stories, productions on YouTube or other, you know, streaming services.
There are some great movies on YouTube. I know there's a good majority of viewers, potentially, that have seen some of the Minecraft movies where they simulate civilization, those are masterpieces. Anybody who's seen those will agree with me. Those are masterpieces.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. I was about to say something like, you know, Fallen Kingdom by Captain Sparkles is up there as one of the all-time great cinematic productions of the internet.
You know, there might be people watching this that are younger than that song.
Oh no. That's so depressing.
If you're younger than that song, you still need to listen to it. This is like one of those...
You do.
It's one of those you had to be there kind of things. Because, man, Minecraft parodies, that was it.
2012 was when Fallen Kingdom came out. So if you're younger than 2012...
There's teenagers that are younger than that. There's teenagers. 2012 was 13 years ago.
Oh, that's a terrifying prospect. I feel so old now.
So as the movie scene and the franchise for movies and streaming and all that has continued, I am very interested to see if we will see any sort of originality outside of very realistic movies. You know, I would like to see some more original animated movies. However, I do know they don't do as well statistically, but that could also just be based on, you know, lack of design, or maybe the storytelling isn't great. Also, if streaming services get most of your money, then why would you go to movie theaters? And potentially even another factor could be cost of living. If you're not making enough money to go to the movie theater, you're not going to go see the newest movies. There's a bunch of factors that could go into this more or less downfall of originality, especially in animated movies. And we see just a lot of big companies doing cash grabs with live action remakes, which I personally don't like.
No, it is kind of tragic.
Yeah.
I hope that there is a new wave of creativity that breaks into the movie industry. In what form that will show up, I don't know. Potentially in the form of internet creators breaking through into the movie industry. That would be a nice breath of fresh air.
That would be cool.
Because there are some genuinely good productions on the internet. If you look at like Yes Theory, channels like that where they've made a full-on, basically movie documentary about a guy who did the what is it called? The Iron Man. The Iron Man race. He did that in Antarctica.
Oh yeah,
Iceman, I believe was what it was called.
That has got to be up there as nobody else will ever do that achievement. That is the most. That is one of the most insane. If you don't know what an Iron Man is, by the way, it's swimming 2.4 miles, biking 112, and then running a full marathon. All in one sitting. And if you're laughing at the swimming part, I dare you to go try and swim 2.4 miles. It is one of the hardest things to do cardio-wise. I guarantee you'd rather run a marathon than swim 2.4 miles.
Yeah, it's quite the physical challenge. But aside from the physical aspect, the film itself, I highly recommend, if you have not seen this video from Yes Theory, Project Iceman, I highly recommend watching it. It might give you a new perspective on the quality of content that comes from the internet, and potentially we will see a lot of growth in terms of creators from the internet showing their skills, getting hired potentially by movie agencies, or potentially creating their own movie production studios.
Would be cool.
And creating the cinema that we would actually like to see.
Yeah. So let us know if you have any opinions on the movie franchise and how it's been shaping up currently in the present and how you think it's going to shape up in the future. If you have any cool ideas for castings for Tangled, which is what we started with, make sure to leave them in the comments, or like we said earlier,
myCast.
Go to myCast. You can do the best castings there. You can write your own stories, characters. It's fantastic. Get involved. Get involved.
Looking at all of you, get involved. Join us on myCast, where all the fun happens in the movie industry. You can also learn a lot about the movie industry and all of the different roles that various actors play. I highly recommend joining. It's free to join. Create your own account for free and see what is up on myCast. We're currently going through some great changes coming to the website. Including seeing this content more readily on the website, as well as other content, including blog posts and things. Yeah. So many great changes happening to the website. we will create more stuff here every Friday for those of you who want to join.
Hey, and if you create good stuff on myCast, you might get good shout outs here. If we like your story, you're going to get a shout out from us.
Yeah. And with that being said, goodbye.